Do you really know what's in your food? From hidden chemicals and additives to behind-the-scenes industry deals, a lot is kept in the dark. In this video, we investigate public health and food supply transparency, revealing what big food might not want you to know about what we eat. The modern supermarket is a wonderland of choices, but also a maze of mystery. Ingredients. The average American eats and drinks dozens of additives daily, often without realizing it. There are over 10,000 chemicals allowed in U.S. foods, from preservatives and dyes to flavor enhancers and more. Yet many of these substances are poorly tested or not transparently disclosed. The setup here is a simple question: what are we really eating, and how do we know it's safe? The shocking answer is that, in the U.S., a lot of the food safety burden is left to the honor system, with the food industry deciding what is safe, often behind closed doors. Believe it or not, the FDA, Food and Drug Administration, does not pre-approve the majority of chemicals in our foods. Thanks to a loophole in a 1958 law, companies can designate an additive as GRA, generally recognized as safe, without any FDA review. In fact, an analysis found that 99% of new food chemicals since 2000 went through this self-approval route. Essentially, the fox is guarding the henhouse. The food and chemical industry largely polices itself on additives. Many chemicals in our food were never independently tested by regulators, or the safety data is decades old. This lack of oversight is stunning and largely unknown to consumers. What does this lax system mean in practice? It means Americans are often consuming chemicals that other countries have banned. Take red dye number 3, used in candies and snacks. The FDA banned it in cosmetics in 1990 because it was shown to cause cancer in lab animals, yet it's still allowed in food and ends up in kids' candies. Or brominated vegetable oil, BVO, found in some sodas, it's linked to nervous system harm and banned in Europe, but not fully in the US. Potassium bromate, an additive in some breads, is a possible carcinogen, banned in the EU, UK, Canada, even China, but still used in American bakeries. The list goes on. Recently, California got so fed up with federal inaction that it passed a law in 2023 banning 4 additives, including Red 3, BVO, and potassium bromate, that are already banned abroad. As the bill's author put it, it's unacceptable that the U.S. is so far behind the rest of the world when it comes to food safety. That law will force food companies to tweak recipes by 2027. But why did we allow these chemicals for so long in the first place? Lack of transparency isn't just about safety, it's also about honesty. Food companies often use confusing or misleading labels. Terms like natural flavor can hide a cocktail of dozens of chemicals extracted or synthesized in labs. For example, your natural strawberry flavor might contain compounds from a beaver gland. Yes, that's real, castoreum, or more commonly, chemically manipulated yeast. Natural on a label means very little legally, it's mostly a marketing term, since the FDA has never fully defined it. Meanwhile, no added sugar, low-fat, gluten-free emblazoned packages of candies or chips that were never expected to have those things, distracting from high salt or calorie content. The result is a marketplace where consumers struggle to make truly informed choices, even if they read the fine print. How did we get here? Industry influence. The food and chemical industries have powerful lobbies that have fought regulations at every turn. When scientists and public health advocates raised alarms about trans fats, sugar, salt, or certain chemicals, these industries often engaged in tactics reminiscent of big tobacco, funding their own studies to cast doubt on harms, lobbying Congress aggressively, and in some cases, burying unfavorable research. A notorious example, back in the 1960s, the Sugar Research Foundation paid Harvard scientists to downplay sugar's role in heart disease and blame fats instead. This kind of manipulation misled the public for decades on nutrition. More recently, when the FDA considered mandating clearer warning labels for foods high in salt, sugar, or dangerous additives, industry pushback usually watered down the proposals. Self-regulation became the norm. Essentially, profit motives often trumped public health, operating under the radar. The public health stakes are enormous. Diet-related diseases like obesity, diabetes, and hypertension have skyrocketed. One could argue our entire food environment, loaded with hidden sugars, salts, and additives, has contributed to that. There are also acute safety crises. Remember the outbreaks of E. coli in lettuce, or salmonella in peanut butter. Those reveal gaps in supply chain transparency and oversight. Often, by the time the public learns of a contamination, it's too late. People have fallen ill because traceability in our food system is weak. And consider allergies. Many ingredients or processing aids don't have to be clearly labeled, which can be life or death for those with allergies. When transparency fails, health suffers. The takeaway is that consumers have more power than we might think, and we're starting to use it. Public pressure has led to some significant changes. After consumer outrage about unlabeled GMOs, genetically modified organisms, the U.S. implemented a disclosure law, albeit a flawed one, allowing hard-to-scan QR codes instead of clear labels. Outcry over artificial trans fats pushed the FDA to effectively ban them in foods in 2015. And now, states like California are forcing the issue on additives, which may effectively ban those chemicals nationwide as companies reformulate rather than lose the California market. Every time the public says enough, whether on social media or through advocacy groups, companies notice. We've seen brands voluntarily remove dyes or reduce sugar due to consumer demand. For instance, some fast food chains stopped using BVO in sodas after negative publicity. But we shouldn't have to play detective for our own food. Regulators need to step up. Experts recommend closing the GRA loophole, ensuring independent safety testing for new food additives, not studies paid for by the manufacturer with obvious conflicts of interest. They urge updating safety reviews on hundreds of chemicals approved decades ago when scientific understanding was limited. For instance, we've learned more about how certain food dyes might affect children's behavior, or how cumulative exposure to preservatives might impact gut health, all areas begging for fresh scrutiny. We also need stronger labeling laws, simple, truthful labels that clearly identify additives and potential risks. Imagine a warning for artificial colors like the EU requires, may have an adverse effect on activity and attention in children. When consumers are informed, they can make better choices, and companies will adjust or innovate healthier alternatives. In the meantime, knowledge is our best defense. As consumers, we can read labels carefully. The shorter the ingredient list, generally the better. Be wary of ultra-processed foods with a chemical soup on the label. Cooking more whole foods at home can help us avoid many additives altogether. Support brands that prioritize transparency and public health. The market is shifting. Many companies now advertise the removal of dyes or junk from their products because they know consumers care. Voting with our wallets and forks sends a powerful message. Food is so fundamental. We literally are what we eat. We all deserve to know what we're putting into our bodies. The fight for food transparency is about trust and safety. It's about ensuring that public health comes before profit. Momentum is building. From new laws to consumer awareness, there's a long way to go to shine light on every corner of our food supply. Stay curious, stay informed, and don't hesitate to ask tough questions about your food. In the end, an informed consumer is the food industry's greatest watchdog. Your health is worth it, and together, we can demand a food system that's honest and safe for everyone.